Hi everyone, and welcome to the AutoML training community meeting on 8th of September. I'll share my screen. Okay, as always, if you want to add something to the agenda, please feel free to update our doc that we have in our recordings. And in the meantime, if you miss our past recordings from this meeting, please feel free to check this YouTube playlist. Again, we meet twice once a month on each Wednesday for US and Asia-friendly time zones. So first of all, let's start with a little bit of AutoML and Kedip. I want to say the release candidate 0 has been released. So we released release candidate 0, I think 3 weeks ago, and we decided to make the new release candidate, which includes the latest bug fixes. If we go into the changelog, we will see that we fixed the problem when our grid suggestion doesn't generate all of the parameters. So eventually, currently, you can proper run a grid search on Kedip, which is very important because previously we faced the problems when not all of the hyperparameters were selected. And then also we fixing the problems with the UI, which includes the latest fix where you don't have the trial template and UI cannot show the proper page with experiment creation. Yeah, I think this is the latest release candidate before we can make the official 0.12 release of Kedip. Do you want to add something? Maybe anyone from the community have any preference or things that we should focus on before making the official release?
Unless if we don't, if we are not seeing any other blocker issues, I think we can release the final one.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, we should release 0.12 after 1 week of distribution testing to make sure that our distribution at least try to use Kubeflow in 1.4. So I think maybe we will give I think distribution testing will start in 1 week. So we can maybe make the official 0.12 release on, I don't know, on end of next week. What do you think?
Yeah. What is
so I think, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
What are the artifacts or the delivery? You've got the change log. I assume there's some images. What else is being delivered here? Are there docs? Is there anything else that is kind of involved in the delivery of 0.12?
Yeah, so we have already updated all the documentation, but not Kedip UI documentation, which is Kamonas will be working on. This is the issue that will update the docs for the UI, for the new UI. But other than that, all of the documentation should be already updated. And the changelog, yes, we recently created the process of automatically generating the changelog with the latest bug fixes and with all of the features and all of the bug fixes. So if our users just want to see what will be included in the official release, they always can see the changelog. And of course, in the official 0.12 release, we will also follow the similar process for 0.11. So we will make the official GitHub release similar as here. Yep.
So are there any Kubeflow.org documentation changes that are required at all?
Yeah, we did it do you want from us providing the links, the particular changes that we did for this release?
It might be interesting. That might be valuable to do, but I don't want to make extra work. I'm just asking whether those we feel like the Kubeflow.org is up to date.
Yeah, it's up to date. Just that we haven't compiled it separately, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good point because I remember that we discussed probably we can just point the users the new documentation that we created for this release. So I'm not sure, Josh, from the management point of view, so will we actually providing the links on this Kubeflow release for our users, the new documentation links?
We've never done it before. I think it would be interesting. We're trying to do a doc sprint next week, and you guys are, kind of the example, the gold standard in doing it the right way. And so, I'd like to be able to say, hey, for those of you that are, following along at home, this is the way that you do it, right? So that's fine. Let me, if there aren't too many pages that have been updated, great. And if you have them real easily, great. If it's a hassle, don't need it. But if you have something you can send to me that I can use as an example for other people, would love to be able to keep promoting the good work here.
The problem with the example, I think, like, since all of the components are kindly differently, so
yeah,
we cannot just rely on the one way of doing the updating the documentation. I think the biggest problem from our side that I can see, we don't really have a feedback that the documentation is clear. And for us, like, I mean, from the contribution perspective, this is very important, right? We don't really understand if our users, if all of the guides are clear, and if all of our new users can easily follow these guides on the kubeflow.org. So that is one thing that I don't know, like, which process we should like try to follow to improve, to like to make it easier for us, for users and for contributors to understand how like, is it the proper way of like providing the new information? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, just from my perspective, I am going to push users who are, open source users to provide feedback. That's part of the community's job. If you're using something for free, maybe you can contribute back by reading and providing comments back on the documents. I don't know. Do you think I'm being unreasonable, or?
It would be great, I think. The question is how many users will actually do it, and how we can, I mean, what will be like the pros for them by spending their work time by doing this, right?
They get a t-shirt, and
yeah,
they will also build brownie points with the people that are fixing bugs or creating new features. So, I mean, it's kind of the community circle of life, right? Is that they need to be able to provide feedback. They just can't complain that they don't like the documentation and not explain. That's just kind of my kind of take, but I want to, I don't mean to dwell on this too much. I just want to try to show the community we're making progress on improving docs. That's all I'm trying to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. We can start with this. We can just start with providing the links, and we'll see how like how many users will actually interact with this, and how many of them will give us a feedback.
Here's something that might be an interesting feedback. I'm supposed to talk to Google tomorrow potentially and ask them to give us analytics. It might be a very interesting statistic to see how many people go to those new documentation pages, right, over the next month.
Yeah, that will be very useful, as we discussed on the community previously.
Yeah, so if that's interesting to you, I will make a formal, hey, here are the new links we want to see, if possible, if you can help us, who's going, how many people are going to these. Okay.
Yeah, good. It would be great. We can start with this. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions to the release?
Is there any main theme or anything like that? Because we're going to get to a place where we're going to need to sum these up in a couple of weeks when we present the, like all the different working groups are going to present. We don't have to talk about it right now, but maybe you have it. But if it's all here, great.
Yeah. So we have a lot of like great features which we support in 0.12, which include like Argo workflow support, new frameworks. Like I tried to highlight all of them here with new features. So there are a lot of like new algorithms, like new infrastructure support, which is very valuable. And for example, like Argo workflow is a very good integration with Kadib. And I would just suggest to see, like to check all of this point and try to maybe highlight them from here.
Okay.
But overall, yeah. Overall, if you have any questions, like what is like the top three features, I can also like give you an update.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that people can typically remember 3 things. So if we can get the top 3, and then the ones that are very interested can dive into more. But I think given the highlights is probably a good thing. So,
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, so let's just move forward. So I think this is all for the release. So if you have any questions, please feel free to just interrupt me. And the next thing about like the future API changes, just a little bit about the discussion of the distribution search space. So the main point here, currently in Kadib, you can do the hyperparameter search on the, you cannot select the distribution of hyperparameter search. For example, in hyperparameter tuning, you can select like the uniform distribution, logarithmic uniform distribution, and all of these distributions can be differently. So currently our API doesn't support it. Probably we should integrate it because all of the common hyperparameter tuning framework does support it. And like, for example, in HyperOpt, you can specify different distributions in similar in Chocolate, similar in SKOpt. So this is the proposal how we can change the API. The proposal I think was made like almost 1 year ago. Any pros or cons, any like feedback about the API changes? Maybe you think it's like the useful feature of using hyperparameter tuning.
I think we can target it for the next one, probably. Like this one might be a little late.
Yeah, it will be in 0.13. It will be on the next version.
Right.
I just was thinking about the API changes. Are they looking good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very straightforward, right? So as user can select the maximum and minimum or like a list of values, they can also select the distribution. Yeah, because overall, if we go to one of our suggestions, yeah, so here we probably can specify the distribution based on the API specification. So we're using like uniform for doubles and like Q uniform for integers. The one point that probably we should see to like maybe compare the distributions across different frameworks. So this is the one thing that we should probably consider, maybe to see patterns, right? With Optuna, with HyperOpt, what do you think, Jono?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so let's
target it for the next one.
Yeah, sure. I just was thinking that we probably should discuss about it. Yeah, because similar to other issue to like unify algorithm settings across different suggestions. So eventually, like to keep everyone like aware, we want to be like the platform for particular all of the hyperparameter tuning frameworks, so cloud native architecture. And currently, since we support a lot of suggestions, all of them have pretty similar algorithms and pretty similar algorithm settings. But these settings can be named differently, depends on the algorithm. And that is why we want to just unify all of them for our users to make it very easy to select the particular like suggestion to run their algorithm. I think we have an issue somewhere. Yes, so this one. So I think this also will be targeted on the next release. And we just, I think, yeah, we already like did some work to make sure that how we can sync the algorithm settings for the different suggestion. So do you think, John, we should also try to target this in the 0.13, like next?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Let me put it here as well. Yeah, so any questions, maybe any comments, or we can move forward?
So I just want to understand, 0.13 potentially has some breaking changes to the API. Is that what I'm going to understand?
It's like not the breaking change. It's will be API will be extended with a new field.
Okay,
so yeah, okay. Yeah, it will be backward compatible with the previous version. So yeah, just a new feature for the API. And before, actually, I think we discussed about it some time ago. Before making the V1 version, we probably should make the stable version of API, of course, and think about how we can make the conversion webhook with delivering different version of API, like similar to Kubernetes, when you have like the alpha version of API, beta version, and like the stable version. So this is should be like our target before the V1 version of Kediv. Yeah. Okay, and just the last thing, I'm not sure that currently we can discuss it here because the contributor who just made this effort is not on the call. It's like the US friendly time zone. But John, what do you think about this change? The problem is like we here updating the status from the ejecting webhook. And
yeah, I'm also a little reserved in the implementation. Probably, I think we have to really think, because we have, I'm not sure we have seen such a implementation before. So I think we have to do a bit of research in figuring out what are the pros and cons for this.
Okay. Yeah, just to keep everyone aware. So in this kind of enhancement, we try to, let me scroll up. So we try to, so we have the mutation webhook to allow the matrix collector in our pods, and we try to point trial status to failed if something cannot be mutated. So try to changing the trial status from the mutation webhook. It's not it's not like Kubernetes native way, because in Kubernetes controller and reconcile, you usually want to update the resource status only inside your controller. So we try to find like the best way of updating the statuses from the mutation webhook. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to go back to that last point that you had on alpha beta stable. I've heard sometimes from users that they prefer for things to be in a stable state. You know, I look at AutoML, and we've had, what is this now, 12 releases? Is that right?
Yes.
And is it being run, you know, by people in production, right? Is it production quality at this point? You know, I would almost argue that it is in a stable state from many perspectives. But I'm wondering if there's any way that we could advance the stable name being placed on, you know, 112 or 113.
Yeah, so I think the biggest question here, when we do want to push it to the stable version, because the biggest problem, like we want to build cloud native AutoML platform. And currently we're still trying to investigate what is the best way of like maybe changing a little bit of our API, because for hyperparameter tuning, our API is kind of stable and we haven't changed them for a while, almost like for, I don't know, for almost a year. So the question is here, how do we want to like make the system as the infrastructure for any type of AutoML features? Because currently, for example, like using NAS, we currently just simply integrate the NAS inside hyperparameter tuning API, which is not very good, and it's like it's not like very stable. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to like to isolate different features by using the different APIs for them, and it will be like easier for us to maintain in the future, and it will be easier to integrate new features to Kadib, right? So this is the one thing that we have an issue for that, by the way. But the question is like we want to just receive a feedback, so how we should move forward before making the stable version of Kadib. I think it's somewhere here. Oh no, not here. I think it's like in the roadmap. Yeah. Where is parameter? Yeah, we don't have an issue for that, but we definitely want to have like different APIs for NAS, for HP tuning, for feature engineering, for model compression. Maybe share some common APIs for them, but have a different sort of the APIs to define them. The question is how we should call our customers, because currently users just define the experiment and they define everything under the experiment. And we like continually investigating what should be like the next naming thing for our CRD. Yeah, I don't know. So George, do you think like we should like do it faster?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I'm gonna propose that we try to make it stable as soon as possible. That would be my opinion. But I think you'll get more adoption, and I think you know, as long as the overhead of doing that isn't causing you problems for future development, then you should consider it.
Yeah, that's true. John, do you want to add something?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, nothing much. I think what we really want is again stable V1 version. In my opinion, at least like in 0.13, I think we should try. But as you said, that we have to really think about what are the things that can actually break the API, right? I think that's also something which you have to see.
Yeah, because in stable version, it doesn't really mean that you will not integrate the new APIs, right? Because Kubernetes continually evolving with a new API.
Yeah, and even KFP, Kubeflow Pipelines, is breaking their API as they go from V1 to V2, right?
Yeah, so it's like more about we should focusing on the building system, which can be which can use different parts, which can be not only for HP tuning, which can be very production readiness, as we discussed previously. So thinking about like using the specific parts of the system for the particular needs, I think is very valuable. And I think it's like what we're trying to build in Kadib can be extendable. It can be extended in some sort of the different infrastructure layer of using like HP tuning or using any other like features, right? Yeah, because probably we should have like some, so after we make the 0.12 release, probably we should have some sort of the discussion what are like the next steps of making the stable version. yeah. Any other questions? To the Katie?
That's all, yeah.
Okay, so regarding to training, I know that Josh has already left, but I think we actually released the latest version, as I can see. So the latest version is 1.3.0 release candidate 0, right? Which probably includes all of the latest fixes.
Yeah.
Let me put it as well. One question that I have, like, why we haven't like created 1.3 branch here? So we're just making the text.
I think he missed that probably. I will talk to him.
Yeah, because it might be better for us to just make this text on the particular branch, right? Similar to Calib. So okay.
I'll talk to him as well. I think we can create that. Yeah, that should be fine. So the renaming is the only one which we have to really discuss. When should we rename it?
I think we should do it actually. I mean, right now we can ping again, like maybe Jan to ask about it.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, I think we are good to go with respect to all of the stuff. So I think we can go ahead with the renaming, because that's what I also feel.
Yeah, I think so. We are ready to just rename it, and we can just ping.
I think let's get up the final say from all the people. And
okay. Yeah, let's actually get the final ping, and after that we can ping Yuan again and maybe just make the rename, because I think that we can easily update the docs by just changing the tail operator to training. Other thing, or actually we also need to make the redirect to points. Like I think in our Kubeflow.org it is possible to make the redirect. So
yeah, I think it will automatically redirect. So I think right now we don't need to even change any of the things that we have added. But my bigger concern is with respect to the pro cluster, will something get affected? So that was but since if we have a release version, we are good to go.
Yeah, that's true. So the question is about the testing and release infrastructure. Do we have any updates or still work in progress there?
Which one?
The testing and release infrastructure I'm talking about in this.
Yeah, I think.
What is it?
Yeah, I think.
Is it this one?
Yeah. I think it is still not added as far as I know. I think yeah. I think I'll follow up with Justin for that.
Okay. Yeah, and also as I can see, the doc has been updated, so everything should be fine. Josh, do you have any questions to the training, by the way, side? What is our like progress on the universal training operator?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think we have an issue for the release, right? Let me try to find it. Yeah, so we probably, once we figure out the testing infrastructure, we can work on the release as well, just to see. Yeah, I actually noticed some problems with the images with the Docker Hub, and I noticed even like today that for some reason people cannot just pull the images because of the Docker Hub limit. So one of the options could be just migrate to the payable account for the Docker Hub. But the question is who will actually support it, right? I don't know, Johnny, if you face with these issues, but at some point it is not possible to pull views.
Like personally I haven't been affected, but again I think we have to figure out a proper solution for that at least. But with AWS, are we still finding any issues with it?
I think so. I'm not sure which limitation ECR has.
Yeah, I think Justin also created some issue with respect to ECR rate limiting, but again, after some time, it automatically got resolved. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that for the production environment, probably Docker, like our public images, is not the best way of building the infrastructure. Because like open source, right, we cannot guarantee that that the images will be available like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, do you think like in production environments for the users, do we have like an examples where people are actually using our images in production?
Very less chance actually. Like they will have their own private registry, right? Most likely. So I think that is not a big worry at all, in my opinion, at least. But if it gets, if it becomes a problem in our testing environment, I think then we have to figure it out.
So you think we should not worry about like the using our images in the
at present, yes.
I do get comments from time to time about CVE scanning.
Yeah, it's a good actually point. We don't have CVE scanning for KDP and for training right now. So this is the one thing that we should prioritize our work. Josh, any updates from the notebook side? Did they set up the process of doing the CVE scanning?
So they asked Google to approve the use of Renovate. And they're waiting for that approval to come through. But I think they've missed so far. I mean, they have the images. I think they did some updates, but they can't put it into their process until they have Renovate available, something like this, if I heard this right yesterday.
So do you mean like Renovate will be available not in near future, or?
Well, I guess it has to be like for the repo, for the notebooks repo, it has to be, or the imagery, I don't know which one, it has to be turned on, like something has to be turned off and something else has to be turned, and Renovate has to be turned on. And they have to ask Google to do that. They've already done it for pipelines.
Do we have an issue to track, by the way, do you know, or somewhere?
I thought that Matthew had talked about one yesterday, but I didn't write it down. Hold on, I was looking at my notes from last night. But I don't think I don't know if it's, no, it's not 2879. No, I don't think I wrote down a.
Yeah, I think
anyway, it's one that comes up, and if we have a way to get closer on those, I think it helps, right? So.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let's just try to maybe see how will it work for the notebooks, and then we can just implement the same process for our repo.
Sounds good.
Okay, any questions? Maybe any comments that you want to raise?
The big delivery in the training operator is the universal training operator. Is that the big?
Correct. Yeah, I think this is the biggest one, and we already like using the MXNet. Like we're using four operators in this universal operator. So it will be delivered like XGBoost, MXNet, NPI. Oh, sorry, XGBoost, MXNet, TF operator, and PyTorch operator. So four of them.
NPI is not included, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Except MPI.
Yeah. So one thing, like, I don't know about the pedal, the question. So why do we want to have like separate repo? Because John, have you like tried to follow this this thread here?
Yeah, I haven't followed the last one, but I think so this was started even before our training operator things, right? Like it was started much before that. So after some point, we could actually like even right now also we could start with the one problem that I see is they haven't finalized uh, the spec, right? And we have to really see whether it is totally different from what we have right now for the other ones. Else the common operator doesn't make sense. So that's only one worry. But again, I think we can directly get it into the main operator, training operator itself.
But do we want to like spend our time by just implementing a separate repo, or we can just start work on the
one thing is we could start let it incubate and get it to a one version that can be released, right? And once we have that, I think we can integrate to training operator. I think that is one approach that we can take rather than directly getting to the training operator, because there might be some changes and then it might break something else, right? If we get to the common repository. So we could, since it is in the incubating stage, we could get it to some I think that's something which we could discuss even in the future, to have like incubating repo something like that, where we get training training operator there, and then get to a stable release and then move to the training operator repo.
I don't know like which process will be easier for us from the management perspective, because it takes like almost like, I don't know, 3 months to set up a repo.
Yeah.
So like from this stage, it will be easier to just push code to the training operator, like I mean universal training operator, right? I don't know. So it's kind of strange for me, but I mean, I think at this stage, creating the incubating repo kind of takes some time from the management, from the like Google approval perspective, right? And I don't know if it will be easier in the future to follow the same process, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, let's actually wait until the next meeting. Maybe we will try like the pedal owners to join them. Like I think T is like he needs like the Asia-friendly time zone, and I will try to ping him to just join the next committee meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Nothing much. I think that's good.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
So what about the universal operator? Is there going to be a universal operator later on?
Yeah, so universal operator will be included in the Kubeflow 1.4, which will support for distributing jobs in the Kubeflow 1.4. So you can just
it hasn't happened, but again, it is coming in the coming release.
Yeah, so the older ones like paddle operator or any other operator, will there be any of those, or will all of those be gone?
Yeah, all other repositories will be archived, and the only one which would be there would be the training operator. Paddle operator hasn't been integrated, but the other PyTorch, XGBoost, and MXNet will be archived.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and we'll see. Like I think we also have a work about DGL, which is similar to MPI. So maybe we can also like discuss about it in the next committee meeting. Yeah, maybe how we can integrate it with MPI. As an MPI, Tariq unfortunately cannot join, but maybe we can just. I'm not sure this will happen soon, right? So maybe in the next releases, we'll see. Okay, any final questions, comments? Wrap up. Okay. Okay, thank you, Ross, for joining. So see you again next time.
The only
Oh,
piece I
yeah,
had was that sometimes I hear that the universal has GBM in it, like GBM, and byte PS, and I just want to confirm that because I've said that because I've seen it in writing, but is there a complete list of the, I guess, the algorithms that are supported somewhere? Is that in is there a?
So currently we support only the distributed versions of TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet, and XGBoost in the training operator.
I think we have an issue about like GBM, right? Okay, how does it called? I remember that we discussed about it actually previously. So is it a separate operator, Jono, or like separate, like similar
It's
to?
it's gradient boosting one, right? Which is separate.
Okay, I see. Yeah, maybe an API. So I don't remember, but I think we do not support it currently, right?
Yeah. Because end of it, the XGBoost itself is kind of gradient boosting one, right? So it is very similar to like the GBM.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that we have an example, right? I think under XGBoost. Let me try to see. I think it's config samples. Yeah, this one, right? Light GBM distribution. So I mean, XGBoost supports this, right? No, I mean, since they're using this in XGBoost operator, XGBoost job.
I'm not sure whether it can support all of them because both are gradient boosting algorithms, so it would be very similar. But again, I'm not sure whether it can support all the gradient boosting methods that the Light GBM provides. So I think that's something which we can confirm once again. But I'm not sure regarding that.
Okay, then yeah, we can maybe follow up if you have any question, Josh, regarding to Light GBM in the future.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought I saw in one of the announcements that Jiaxing had provided that byte PS and LGBM or the gradient boost stuff was there, but I just don't want to misinform people. So it's just the 4 right now. Right, XGBoost, MXNet, PyTorch, TensorFlow.
Yeah, all of the common, yeah, all the same, like
correct.
Yeah, the same as we support previously, like pretty much similar operators with the same functionality. Does it make sense? Okay, so I think if you don't have any other questions,
I had one question to ask to John. Is that right pronunciation, John? Or
yes.
So Nutanix has a Kubeflow Terraform provider or not?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Does Nutanix have a Kubeflow Terraform operator?
It provides Kubeflow installer through Terraform. Yeah.
So is it a is it a provider? Sorry, I confused. Provider.
Yes, it is.
Kubeflow provider.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So okay. So I wanted to develop a Kubeflow provider, but I didn't find one. So Nutanix has already made it or not?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's open source.
It is still not, but again, it is. But again, I think I can talk to people and get it through if you want to actually use it.
Yeah, so I had in mind to develop a Kubeflow provider for Terraform. So I wanted to know if anybody else has developed it already. for me not to develop.
Okay.
Yeah, I just try to follow up in Slack. So
Sure.
you should be good point.
We can talk
Okay.
separately regarding.
Yep. Okay, thanks everyone for joining then. See you again next time. Speak to you soon, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.